The laughter reached Amara's nephew before she understood it was about her. It rippled across the ballroom in that soft, expensive way rich people laugh when they think they are being subtle, a sound like ice cracking under warm water. She kept walking with the tray balanced on her palm, because that was the job, and the job did not stop for laughter. Then she saw the phone. Then she saw the screen. Then she saw her own body on it. It was her, from an hour ago, by the dessert table, bent slightly to set down a tray. Someone had photographed her without her knowing, framed her body like a punchline, and stamped a caption across it that she would not repeat even inside her own head. The little number under the post said 240,000 people followed the account that posted it. The little number under that said the laughs were already in the thousands. Her ears went hot. Not her cheeks. Her ears, the way they used to burn when she was a girl, and someone said something her mother would have slapped them for. Lee was not even trying to hide it. She held the phone up so the women around her could see, and she watched Amara watch her do it, and she smiled the smile of a woman who had never once in her life been told no. That was the part that lit the fire. Not the photo. The smile. The certainty in it. The way Yuna's eyes flicked down Amara's body and back up, slow, like she was pricing furniture she had already decided not to buy. Amara set the tray down. She set it down very carefully, because if she had not been careful, she would have thrown it. Every part of her that had spent 2 years swallowing things told her to swallow this one too. Smile. Apologize for existing. Pick the tray back up. That was the survival math she ran 100 times a night. She did not run it this time. She crossed the floor toward Yuna with her hands open and steady, and the little knot of women went quiet the closer she got, because none of them had expected the joke to walk toward them. Delete it. Her voice did not shake. That surprised even her. You took that without asking me. Delete it. All of it. Yuna looked at Amara's open hand the way you look at a stain. Or what? She said it without a question mark. She turned the phone face down against her palm, slow, a magician hiding a card, and stepped half a pace closer so only Amara would hear the next part. You should be thanking me. Nobody knew your name an hour ago. Her smile widened. They do now. Something behind Amara's ribs went very still and very cold, the way a room goes quiet right before something breaks in it. Her pulse was loud in her throat. She was aware, distantly, that her hands were shaking, and that she could not tell any more whether it was fear or rage, and that she no longer cared which. What neither woman knew was that someone in the corner of that ballroom had stopped moving entirely. Kang Min-jae had been at the gala for 40 minutes and had spoken to no one. He stood where he always stood, in the part of any room where the light gave up, a full glass of something he had no intention of drinking warming in his hand. He had watched the whole thing the way he watched everything, without expression, filing it. The photo, the laughter, the 240,000 followers, the woman with the tray, who set it down so she would not throw it. And then she had said delete it, and her voice had not shaken, and Min-jae felt something move in his chest that he did not have a word for and did not like. He looked down at his own hand and found it had closed hard around the glass. He made it relax, finger by finger, the way he made everything relax by deciding to. But the thing in his chest did not relax with it. It sat there, foreign and warm and unwelcome, while across the room the woman stood her ground against a circle of people who could end her job with a phone call and were enjoying watching her realize it. Min-jae did not move toward her. Not yet. Men like him did not move first. They watched, and they decided, and then the world rearranged itself around the decision without ever seeing the hand that pushed. He turned his head a fraction. In the shadow beside him, a broad, still figure had appeared without a sound. Park Min-soo had worked for Min-jae long enough to read the back of his neck. He had seen the hand close around the glass. He said nothing because saying nothing was most of the job, and waited. Min-jae spoke without turning his head, his voice so low it barely disturbed the air between them. The account that posted it. I want the name behind it, the followers who pays for it, and who they answer to. By morning. a pause that was not empty. And I want it all gone. Every post, every copy, every laugh. Minsu's eyes flicked once across the room to the woman with the squared shoulders, then back. And her? Nothing yet. Min-jae finally set the untouched glass down on a passing tray. She did not ask for help. People who do not ask are the only ones worth giving it to. And here is where I need to ask you for something, because if you have read this far, you are exactly the kind of person this channel was built for. We are small. We pour everything we have into stories like this one, the kind where the quietest man in the room turns out to be the most dangerous, and the only way we get to keep making them is if you tell us they are landing. So, if Amara standing her ground just made something in your chest tighten the way it tightened in his, hit subscribe, not as a favor to us, as a way of saying you want to see exactly how far Kang Min-jae is willing to go. Because I promise you, you do. Across the floor, Yuna had already turned her back. That was the cruelest part to Amara. Worse than the photo, worse than the caption. The turning away. The deciding that Amara was finished, filed, handled, not even worth the effort of a second look. Yuna melted back into her glittering little circle, and the laughter started up again, lighter now. The laughter of people who had won something and were already bored of it. Amara stood alone in the middle of a room full of gold light, and for one long second the floor felt like it might open up and swallow her where she stood. Then she picked the tray back up, because the job did not stop for this either. Amara woke at 6 the next morning already braced. She had cried in the shower the night before, briefly and angrily, and then she had told herself she would face whatever the internet had done to her overnight, because not looking was a kind of cowardice she could not afford. She opened the account, the cruel one, the 240,000 followers. It was gone, not the post, the account, the whole thing, wiped down to a gray blank that said this page is not available. She searched the caption, the one she would not repeat. Nothing. She searched her own face through every reverse tool she knew. Nothing. Every screenshot, every res hair, every laughing thread, gone in the night as if it had never been typed at all. Relief hit her first, warm and stupid and total, and she let herself have it for about 4 seconds. Then the cold came back. Because the internet does not forget. Everyone knew that. It was the one rule. A photo that lands on 240,000 phones does not simply evaporate because the person in it wished hard enough. Someone had reached into the machine and pulled it out by the roots, account and all, in the space of a single night. That did not happen by accident. That did not happen for free. That happened because someone with more power than Amara had ever stood next to had decided it would. And the only thing more frightening than a stranger who hates you is a stranger who helps you, and you do not know why. That was when she saw the envelope. It was lying just inside her own front door, on the floor, where no envelope had been when she went to sleep. Black. Heavy. No name, no address, no stamp, because it had not come through any mail. Someone had stood on the other side of her locked door in the night and slid it under, close enough to touch the place she slept, and she had heard nothing. Her chain was still on. Her bolt was still thrown. And the envelope was still inside. She did not pick it up for a long moment. She just looked at it and felt the small hairs lift along her arms, one by one, as the apartment she had thought was hers stopped feeling like only hers. Inside was a single black card. On it, in plain gold type, an address she did not know, a time that evening, and 4 words. It is handled. No name. No request, because it was not phrased as one, like she would. Like the matter was already settled in some room she had never been in, by someone who had decided her humiliation was his to erase, and her gratitude was his to collect. Amara turned the card over. The back was blank except for one small embossed mark in the corner, a shape she did not recognize, but somehow understood she was not meant to recognize. She sat back on her heels on her own floor and let out a breath she had been holding since the gala, and it came out shaking. Someone powerful had just made her a problem that solved itself. The question was what she had become in the solving. Across the city, in a room built out of shadow and dark wood, Min-jae had not slept either. By the time the sky grayed, everything he had asked for was on his desk. The account had belonged to a paid reputation handler. The handler had been hired through 2 intermediaries. The intermediaries had been paid, eventually traced back through the kind of layers people use when they think no one will ever bother to peel them, by a personal assistant who answered to exactly one person. Yuna Lee. Min-jae looked at her name on the page for a long time without any change in his face. Min-soo, standing across the desk, had seen that exact non-expression turn into a great deal of trouble for a great many people, and he kept his voice neutral. "You knew her once," Min-soo said. It was not quite a question. Min-jae did not answer it. That, too, told Min-soo everything. When Min-soo left, Min-jae did something he had not done in a long time. He slid open the bottom drawer of the desk, the locked one, and looked at the small object that lived there in the dark on a square of velvet. He did not take it out. He never took it out. He only looked at it the way a man looks at a wound he has decided not to call a wound, and then he closed the drawer and turned the little brass key, and his face when he stood was exactly as unreadable as it had been when he sat. Whatever that object was, it was the reason Yuna Lee's name on a page had not surprised him at all. She almost did not go. She told herself a dozen times she would not, while she got dressed in the one good dress she owned, the deep green one, while she rehearsed the things she would say to a man who thought 4 words on a black card were enough to summon her. She went because not going felt like leaving a debt open in the dark, and Amara did not live with open debts. She went because she was furious, and fury, she had learned, was the only thing that had ever walked her into rooms fear would have kept her out of. A car had been waiting outside her building before she finished deciding. That was its own kind of answer. The penthouse did not look like money. It looked like control. Every object in it sat exactly where it had been placed by someone who never placed anything twice. The city burned far below the glass, a whole world of light reduced to scenery, and the room watched it without needing it. And in the middle of all that controlled dark, a man stood with his back to her. Looking out at the city, he could apparently rearrange with a phone call, and he did not turn around when she came in. "You found me," he said, "in 11 hours. Most people never find me at all." "I didn't find you," Amara said. "You found me. You put a card on the floor of my locked apartment. You want to talk about who found who? Start there." He turned then, and the strangest thing happened in her chest when he did, a hard double thud, half alarm and half something she refused to name, because the face that went with all that quiet power was not what she had braced for. Younger, stiller, eyes that did not move around a room the way other people's eyes did, that simply landed on a thing and stayed. They landed on her now and stayed, and Amara felt it the way you feel a hand you cannot see. "I had your problem removed," he said. "I did not expect to be scolded for it. I didn't ask you to remove anything." The words came out hot. I asked her, to her face, in front of everyone. And then a stranger I have never met reaches into the entire internet and erases it overnight and slides a card under my door while I'm sleeping, and I'm supposed to do what? Exactly. Curtsy? Thank you? You don't get to fix my life without asking me and call it a gift. That's not help. That's ownership with better manners. For one breath he did not answer, and she saw it, the smallest flicker, like she had reached through all that stillness and touched something live. Then it was gone, sealed over. "No one has spoken to me like that," he said slowly, "in 9 years. Then you've been surrounded by cowards for 9 years. And there it was again, that flicker, except this time he let it live half a second longer before he killed it. The corner of his mouth moved. Not a smile. The ghost of where a smile would go on a man who had stopped using his. It frightened her more than his coldness had. Coldness, she understood. Coldness had rules. But a powerful man who looked at her defiance, like it was the first interesting thing he had seen in years, that had no rules at all, and Amara felt the ground tilt very slightly under the green dress she had worn to feel armored. "Sit," he said. Then, after a visible effort, like the word was a foreign coin in his mouth, "Please, there is something about last night you do not know, and something you should." She sat. She hated that she sat. She sat anyway, on the edge of the chair, ready to leave. "The woman who posted your photo," he said. "Yuna Lee. She did not choose you at random. He let that settle. She had you photographed 3 days before the gala. She knew you would be working that room. The account that mocked you was created 8 days ago and exists for one purpose, to destroy specific women on her instruction, and you are the 4th this year." His eyes did not leave her face. "You were not an accident, Amara. You were a target. And I need to know why a hospitality temp with no enemies is worth that much effort to a woman like her." Amara's mouth had gone dry. "How do you know my name?" "I never told you my name." A small silence, the heavy kind. "I know a great deal about you," he said. "I have since last night. That is the part you will not like." She was on her feet before she decided to be. A man who could erase the internet overnight had spent the same night learning everything there was to learn about her, and now he sat in a tower of dark glass telling her she was a target, calm as a man reading a weather report, and the worst of it, the truly cold of it, was that he might be the safest place in the city and the most dangerous, both, at the same time, and there was no way to tell which. "I want to leave," she said. "You can." He did not move. "The car is downstairs. It will take you anywhere. But Amara, if you walk out that door tonight believing this ended at the gala, you will not see the next part coming. And the next part is already coming. If you are still here, still standing in that room with Amara, holding your breath, do me one favor and prove it. Drop the single emoji that matches exactly how your heart feels right now, because I have a feeling it is not calm. And tell me where in the world you are watching from and what time it is where you are, because we are seconds from something nobody watching this is ready for. Tell me you are still in this. Then stay close, because it gets so much worse before it gets better." His phone lit the dark wood between them before she could answer. "No name. Blocked." He looked at it, and for the first time since she had walked in, something crossed his face that she could read without any effort at all, because it was the same thing living under her own ribs. It was not fear. Min Jae did not do fear. It was worse. It was recognition. He answered without speaking. He listened. The seconds stretched, heavy and dangerous, and Amara watched the stillness come down over him like a shudder, total, final, the stillness of a man who has just been told the one thing he spent years making sure no one could tell him. He lowered the phone slowly. "Who is that?" Amara said. Her voice had dropped to almost nothing. He looked at her, and for one unguarded instant the cold went out of his eyes entirely, and what was underneath was so raw she had to look away from it. Then he put the cold back, deliberately, the way he put everything back. "You need to come with me," he said. "Now." "Not because I am asking. Because the people who are paid to find you just told the only person who frightens me that they found you an hour ago." He was already moving, already reaching for her, his hand closing warm and certain around her wrist. "And they did not tell me out of courtesy. They told me so I would watch." She should have torn her wrist free. Every careful instinct she owned screamed it. A strange man with a private army was dragging her out of a tower at midnight, and the smart, safe, survivable thing was to scream the building down. She did not, because his hand was shaking. Just barely. The hand of a man who frightened an entire city was shaking around her wrist, and somehow that single tremor told her more than any of his words had, that whatever was coming was real, and that for reasons she could not begin to understand, this terrifying stranger was more afraid for her than he was for himself. "Where?" she breathed, half running now to keep up. "Somewhere they cannot reach." A beat at the door, his eyes finding hers, the mask slipping one last time. "I have kept exactly one person alive in this city, by wanting to. Tonight you are the second. Do not make me regret learning your name." The parking structure under the tower was a cathedral of shadow and concrete. Min-soo had the car already running, the the back door already open, his flat eyes already sweeping the dark between the pillars. No one spoke. Doors. Engine. The low surge of acceleration pressing Amara back into leather that smelled like a world she had never been allowed into. Beside her, Min-jae had gone quiet in a new way, a working quiet, his eyes on the side mirror, and she realized he was counting headlights. 2 cars, Min-soo said from the front, not turning. Since the ramp. I know, Min-jae said. Amara turned to look through the back window and wished she had not. 2 pairs of headlights hung behind them, close, matching every turn, unhurried in the way that frightened her most, because unhurried meant certain. The city slid past in wet ribbons of gold, and the cars stayed exactly where they were, patient, the way Yuna had been patient, the way money was always patient because it had never once had to run. She felt his hand find hers on the seat between them, not gripping this time, just there. Warm. Steady when nothing else was. Look at me, Min-jae said quietly. Not them. Me. She looked at him. Up close, with the city smearing gold across the windows and 2 cars hunting them through the dark. He held her gaze and did not let it go, and his thumb moved once, slow, across the back of her hand. I have spent my whole life, he said low only for her, making sure I never had anything someone could take from me. That is how you survive in my world. You want nothing. You love nothing. You keep the drawer locked. His jaw tightened. And then a woman I have known for one day puts down a tray instead of throwing it, and tells a room full of wolves no, and I find I have a thing again. A thing I am afraid to lose. I have not been afraid in 9 years, Amara. I would very much like to be angry at you for it. Her heart was going so hard, she could feel it in her throat, and for one insane suspended second the 2 cars behind them did not exist, and the danger did not exist, and there was only the warmth of his hand, and the terrible softness in a voice that had no business being soft. She did not pull back. That was the thing she would think about later, in the dark, that when this dangerous stranger leaned in close enough that she could feel the warmth coming off him, she did not pull back. The fear had turned into something else somewhere on the wet road behind them, the way fear sometimes does, and the small space between his mouth and hers had become the loudest thing in the car. Min-jae, she said. His name. The first time she had used it. It came out like a question and a surrender at once. Down. Min-soo's voice cracked the moment in half. Both of you. Now. The world tilted hard. Min-soo wrenched the wheel, and the car slewed sideways across the wet street, tires screaming. The dark SUV that had blocked the road, missing the front of them by the width of a held breath. Amara was thrown against Min-jae, and his arm came around her instantly. Total, a band of muscle and certainty, his other hand braced against the roof, his body folded over hers so completely that for a moment she could see nothing but the black of his jacket and hear nothing but his heartbeat, fast, human, terrified, hammering against her ear at a speed she would have sworn a man like him was not capable of. 160 beats a minute, she thought wildly, pressed to his chest in a spinning car. The most dangerous man in the city has a heart rate of 160, and it is doing that because of me. The car fishtailed, found grip, surged forward through the gap Min-soo had carved, and the SUV and the 2 hunting cars fell away behind them into the wet dark, headlights shrinking, then gone around a corner. For a long minute, no one spoke. Min-jae did not let her go. His arm stayed locked around her in the back of the steadying car, his cheek against her hair, his runaway heart slowing degree by degree against her, and Amara stayed exactly where she was, breathing him in, neither of them willing to be the one to admit the danger had passed, and the holding no longer had an excuse. When he finally eased back, it was only far enough to look at her. Whatever had been locked in him for 9 years was standing wide open in his eyes, and he did not bother to hide it anymore. I am going to keep you safe, he said, whatever it costs. I need you to understand that I have never said that to anyone and meant it. The safe house was high and quiet and warm, a single lamp burning against the dark, the city laid out far below like something that could no longer reach her. Minsu had checked every room and every lock and then gone to stand watch somewhere she could not see, and for the first time since the laughter at the gala, Amara was somewhere no one was hunting her. She stood at the window and listened to Min Jae moving quietly behind her, taking off his jacket, pouring something, the small, ordinary sounds of a man who had just thrown his body between her and a moving car, as if it were nothing, as if she were worth it, as if she had ever once been worth it to anyone. "Why me?" she said to the glass. "You could have anyone. Why fight a war for a woman you met yesterday?" He was quiet so long she thought he would not answer. "Because you reminded me of something I buried," he said finally. 9 years ago, I lost the only person who ever looked at me the way you looked at Yunali. Like the size of the person in front of you did not change whether you would say no to them. His voice had gone rough at the edges, a fraying she had not heard in it before. I told myself I would never want anything again because wanting is how they reach you. And then there you were, in a borrowed uniform, with nothing, refusing to be afraid of people who own everything. A breath. I did not delete that photo for you, Amara. I deleted it because I could not stand to live in a world where they got to make you small. There is a difference. I am only now learning what it is. She turned from the window. She crossed the room. She was not thinking anymore about safe or smart or survivable. She lifted her hand and laid it against his jaw, and the most dangerous man in the city closed his eyes and leaned into her palm like something starved. For one whole breath the war did not exist. There was only the warmth of his face against her hand and the lamp and the quiet and the terrible, dawning understanding that she had walked into this room hating him and was now standing close enough to feel his pulse in his throat, and that somewhere on the wet road between the tower and here, the fear had finished turning all the way into this. "This is a mistake," she whispered. "Almost certainly," he said, and did not move away. And then, over his shoulder, on the small table beside the lamp, she saw it. A photograph. Old, framed, the kind a person carries from place to place because they cannot bear not to. She had not noticed it when she came in. She noticed it now because the lamp had caught the face in the glass, and the face in the glass was one she knew, had always known, had carried her own worn copy of, in a frame just like this, on the shelf of a small apartment across the city. It was a photograph of her mother, younger than Amara had ever seen her, standing beside a Korean man Amara did not know, both of them laughing, and across the bottom in faded ink, in her mother's own handwriting, a date from the year before Amara was born. Amara's whole body went cold. She knew that photograph. Not one like it. That one. The man beside her mother was the reason she had come to this city in the first place, the name at the bottom of the only letter her mother had ever hidden from her, the question that had pulled Amara across an ocean and into a borrowed uniform in a ballroom full of people who thought she was no one. She had not come to this city to serve canapes. She had come to find a man. And she was standing in his safe house, with her hand still warm from his face, and she had no idea yet whether the man in the photograph was Min Jae's father, or his enemy, or something worse, only that Min Jae had kept this picture close enough to carry, and had never once asked her why a stranger named Sefyu seemed so familiar. "Where?" Her voice came out cracked, barely her own. "Where did you get that photograph?" He opened his eyes. He followed her gaze to the photograph, and Amara watched the exact instant the meaning of her name landed on a man who knew a great deal about everyone because his face, that controlled, unreadable, 9 years locked face, came apart in real time. Not fear, not even shock. Something underneath both. The look of a man watching two halves of a secret he had kept on opposite sides of his life slide toward each other in a lamplit room he could not stop. "Sefyu," he said, quietly, like he was hearing it for the first time, like he had been hearing it wrong for 24 hours. "Your mother. What was your mother's name?" And on the table between them, lighting up cold and silent in the warm dark. His phone began to ring again. No name.
Blocked.
The same call. The one person who frightened him. Both of them looked at it. Neither of them moved. Whatever you think happens next, you are wrong. That photograph means Amara and Min Jae are tangled together by something that started before she was even born, and the call lighting up that phone belongs to the one person on Earth who can use it against both of them. But the only way part 2 ever gets made is if this comment section blows up tonight. So if you need to know whose name is at the bottom of that photo, whose voice is on that phone, and what Kong Min Jae does the second he understands what Amara really is to him, comment part 2 right now, and do not stop until we hear you. We are watching the comments. Bring them.